For those of you who are acquiring a new home now or in the very near future, whether that be a brand new home with nothing but dirt all the way around and your new casa smacked right dab in the middle, or a new home to you and you have an existing landscape, I want to go in depth about the one season approach, a technique and more of a theory that I learned many, many years ago that I want to share with you. So what is the one season approach? In a nutshell, it's once you're in and functional in your brand new house, I would love for you to give any landscape renovation idea one season before you break ground. And here is why I say that. You know, giving yourself that one season, or maybe 3 months, is rooted and based in something that I hold near and dear to professional landscape quality work. That is planning, observation, and acclimation. To start off, it really gives you time to exhale a little bit. You know, the whole stress of moving, maybe it's just you, or maybe you and your significant other, or maybe it's you and the whole family. It doesn't really matter. It's stressful no matter what. Change is stressful to a human being, and this is no exception. So it allows you to get in and settle down, settle into a new house and all its little idiosyncrasies, a new neighborhood, maybe a new town or state. You become more familiar with maybe your new commute, maybe your new routine, maybe a whole new job. And those times right there, it's going to take a little bit of time, maybe a month, maybe 2. But in that time, even though you want to start that landscape renovation because you can't stand your yard, you think it's nothing but a dumpster fire and you need to get it out. That's good. I'm glad you got the energy to want to do that. But this 90 days is going to pay off in spades by following a few short tips that I want to leave you with today. You know, I've been a homeowner and a landlord probably about 6 or 8 times over in my life, and I've learned a few things. And one of the things I know about moving into a house, that no matter what an inspector did, no matter what you did on a walkthrough or your real estate agent, there are some things that you just don't see and catch. You may catch the big things, but when you start living there, you find little things that you go, man, how did I miss that? Or how come they didn't see this? Or is my home warranty going to cover this? Those are the little things that tend to enter into living in a new place. And those are the things that you need to address first. They're probably little in nature, but if not tended to right away, those little things can add up. And pretty soon, maybe you got a half a dozen or 10 little things that you have to address. Well, meanwhile, that one season approach is tick-tock, tick-tock. And you know that you want to get out there. But maybe there's some things inside the house or some landscape things that need to be tended to so that safety is addressed, say like a tree and its branches or something that's overhanging your house or the neighbor's house. So you have kind of a hazard thing that you got to take care of. Now, when you talk about getting those little punch lists over and done with, now is the time, once you're settled in, that you can start giving yourself a little bit of due diligence, a little bit of planning, reconnaissance, nursery visits, and eventually a design that you're going to be able to bring into fruition in this 90-day period. The one season approach also allows you some time for key observations and what you're actually going to do. Let's go into a few of them that I remember being taught and that I actually used with clients, and maybe you'll see 1 or 2 or maybe all of them that you could really use. Okay, so our first one. In that 90 days of acclimation and observation, you'll be able to take more closer observation regarding the sun and shade shadows. Where are some of the points of interest in your yard that you want to preserve or you need to eliminate? What are some of the areas that you're going to use for outdoor living that may or may not need to be addressed? What about doggo? Does doggo need a place to go? How about that veggie garden you've always wanted? Well, knowing where things are in November versus where they're going to be in March, April, May, June, July, might be totally different. And it'll help you starting to formulate a plan as far as what will work in the growing season versus what will not work this time of year. Okay, number 2. Many times initial impressions or initial thoughts of what you want to do tend to fade because you've been there just a little while now. You've had maybe some input from family and friends or significant other. You start to see the yard maybe through other people's eyes or as a team. And sometimes this can benefit because looking through one colored glass, you don't get to see a big picture. Many times that's how I used to get hired as a professional designer, is because everybody looked at the yard in one myopic view, and then I'd walk in and go, well, what do you think about this? Maybe you could do that. And they go, I never thought of that. That's a great way to get rid of that myopic view, is through assimilation and acclimation. Maybe you bought the house in February and you're in a northern latitude. You can't do a whole bunch just yet, but you have some ideas. Those ideas need to be committed to writing. Thoughts need to be preserved, and then as spring evolves, you can start committing it to paper in a design of which you guys can take on yourself, maybe in May or June. Hey, how about number 3? Maybe this is a new environment for you, and where you used to live, maybe it was far, far away. An example would be maybe you come from the Front Range of the Colorado Rockies, and your job has taken you to southern Florida now for a promotion and a change of venue. Wow, okay, talk about environment. So environment itself is going to teach you a little something about what the area can tolerate and what your mind needs to let go of as far as, geez, I think dwarf Alberta spruce and a Colorado blue spruce would work good. Not in southern Florida, not anymore. So it gives you time to come to grips with hotter weather, humid weather, colder weather, wetter weather. All those kinds of environmental factors come to bear on some of the decisions that you're going to have to make. The one season approach also allows you to get out of the house and go do some recon. Do some reconnaissance and find out what type of suppliers are in the area. Say, for instance, bulk material suppliers, plant suppliers, maybe box store, maybe mom and pop, which I always stand behind anyway, okay? So once you get out there and you know where they're at, you can sit down and talk to somebody, find out delivery policies, find out guarantee policies, what things cost. Commit this to writing in memory, and you're starting to build your knowledge base, not only based on your environment, your new location, you're settling in, but now you're really starting to think like a pro as well. You have an idea of what things are going to cost. And you notice this video, I haven't even touched budget. If you're interested in dealing with budget, I'll leave a card right there where you can check that one out too. Good video. You'll learn a lot. So let's use a hypothetical example. Let's say that you just bought a house and you're moving into this house this week. So, being in the middle of November, almost anywhere you're at, you have a couple things playing against you. Number 1, the time of year. It's not necessarily the growing year, no matter where you're at, even if you are in southern Florida, but certainly not in the northern latitudes. And with everything that comes to bear this month, next month, and January, you know, do you really need the stress of dealing with all of that and the holidays and everything? No, you certainly don't. Heck no. You don't need that right now. You got enough on your plate. But it doesn't take anything to go out and do some of that reconnaissance, do a little search online, do those kinds of homework things, and don't worry about breaking ground right now. Finally, after gathering a lot of that information, that beautiful one season approach, that 90 days-ish, okay, is going to boil down to where you can sit down with pencil and paper and you can start designing this thing up yourself. Is it going to be a major take it down to the dirt type of landscape makeover? Or are there some things that can certainly stay and you can change things up a little bit in and around the existing elements that you have? Maybe trees, maybe patio, maybe irrigation, maybe some little changes here and there, but you're going to know as you start researching it. But this is not the time to stress out, because all you're doing is gathering information, and now you're about ready to sit down and be able to commit it to a design that you can use and that you're going to know better than anybody, and have a great master plan and a roadmap from the beginning of the project to its fruition and end. So in our hypothetical, let's forward 90 days. The rest of November, December, January, and February are now evaporated. You've gathered all the information you need. You've committed it to maybe an 11 by 17 design that you really get your head around. Maybe you've decided to do it all yourself, or maybe you decided to bring in a professional or two to do some factor or element of the landscape project. And with the accuracy and detail that you have in this design and in the notes that you've committed, that professional is going to realize that you're not the average homeowner. You're not going to be a person to be taken advantage of, and you're certainly going to have your head really tightly wrapped around this project and what your goals are going to be. It doesn't mean that you're a bossy the cow know-it-all. It's just that you're going to come across as a learned DIY homeowner. There's still going to be a lot of the project you're going to do yourself, but maybe you want somebody to put a nice finish on the new patio, so you're going to hire a concrete finisher to do it. You might form it, or if you got the checkbook, maybe you want them to do the whole thing. But that one season approach, because you waited and you researched, you observed, you acclimated, you have all the information. The one thing that you're going to find for yourself is you're one heck of a confident DIYer that will be able to take on a project like this, because you know each and every one of the steps. You have a coach here if you need to email a question, and you have all your ducks in a row, which is more than 98% of any DIY project people out there. So kudos if you go down this road. This is how a lot of successful DIYers approach a project, whether it be a landscaping makeover, whether it be a kitchen makeover, whether it be a new shop in the backyard. This is how smart DIYers do it. The project doesn't come off as some half-baked gong show with an ass hat at the helm and doesn't allow it to do what it's supposed to do, because they didn't do all the legwork. They didn't do all the mind work. They didn't boil it all down to something concise. This is what the pros do. It's their Monday through Friday daily grind, but they have it so entrenched in their head, it's almost automated. And much like your own career, if I was to come to your workplace and you would say, hey, well, here, go ahead, do my job, I'd go, where do I start? But for a landscape designer and contractor, it's just another day at the office. We need to plan. We need to go get materials far in advance. We need to know exactly what subcontractors I'm going to need for a project, and I have a design in front of me that not only my client has agreed to, but I know intimately, so I know what I'm going to be doing from day 1 to day 31 or whatever. Giving yourself that critical time, that critical 90 days at a minimum, is a great way to bolster your confidence and allow you to rise above the rest of the DIYers. And really, in the end, watch you grow as a person and as a neighbor. You will be surprised what people are going to walk by and say, my God, you did this yourself? Well, yeah, I did. So, kudos. Hopefully you'll follow some of these tips. Now, another thing, in this 90-day, one-season approach, it's great if you can reach out and find some education, more than just what's on YouTube. That's what I'd like to offer you right now, and that is the ebook that we have and also the digital home course. Very nicely priced, I might add. And there's also the free 15-step DIY checklist that everybody can use when you're ready to just about launch. Check it out at youryardcoach.com. I would appreciate any support that you can give old Coach here. So the old adage, good things come to those who wait, this is a classic example of that. If you can be patient and think it out and give yourself that time frame, you will be a lot more relaxed, a heck of a lot more confident, and ready to tackle it. Don't forget your resources, don't forget your tools, and don't forget some help, especially on day 1 if you have to do some demolition. It's always nice to have a team approach. Maybe you have family. Maybe you have some new friends. Don't forget where your tool sources are and have them ready to go. This is all part of the planning in that 90-day, one-season approach. Let me leave you with this. When you get into that design phase, make sure you've had input from everybody in the house, even the youngins. I mean, they love to say, depending on their age group, an idea. And sometimes you'll really be surprised of what they're actually saying, something to listen to. Don't forget, we're not thinking of just launching in March or April, but what are your wants and needs going to be 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years down the road? Don't forget the video that I did last week about planning for the future. I'll leave a card right here. It also helps you in the designing phase and how to think and budget depending on how long you're going to be there. It was very, very interesting. I got some good feedback on it. Hey guys, that's what I have for you this week. I hope it's a little tidbit and maybe raise a level of awareness for you if you're moving into a new house and you're considering a landscape makeover project yourself. Hey, I'm only an email away if you've got a question. As always, I'm on the podcast, and don't forget this weekend I'll be on the Wisdom app discussing things live like this topic right here. So feel free to jump on. Feel free to jump on and ask a question. I appreciate your time. If you're still here with me, you might consider subscribing and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Channel's growing, and I'm happy to have you on board. Hey, until next Friday, as always, to your landscape success, take care.